dive through some of the lane prio that you're going to see with this Lucian, which isn't actually honestly that great. It ends up going up against the Rise here. And you survive through, some of the early skirmishes that T1 can look for, but it's not amazing until
in the face of Owner, try to look for some ganks. And if we know Kroko, he loves to hang around his solo lane, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of moving around the map from both Kroko and maybe even effort early on in this game.
Wards placed here around the red buff here, and Faker just going to stay out of range. He's going to be totally fine. It's being pretty valuable for Owner to have that extra vision of where Kroko is going to be, what his pathing is going to be. So great success here in the early game for them. We'll rotate down now, Keria to the bottom side of the map. And of course, one ward does go over to the red buff here of T1. Yeah. So they also get the same sort of counter vision off on the map.
You could see they were still putting down pings. They're like, not sure exactly where they're at.
Gonna get a hard leash here, actually, Kroko is. So that's gonna be taken out really quick. And this is, of course, seen by the ward. Fate headed straight back to lane after he does just one little bit of damage there. Same will be true of Summit, but they just really want to accelerate Kroko as soon as possible.
We got Faker here on the Lucian. I remember in game one we were saying,
yeah,
is it going to be Faker on the Lucian or Kana? And this is actually Faker's first game here in summer, hopping onto the Lucian. And very curious to see how he does, right? You mentioned how in this lane, Rise is definitely one of these picks that, especially if you can survive some of the annoying poke that Lucian does very early on in the lane, you can eventually get a couple of items, clear out the wave, and just try to not interact too much with the Lucian and not lose too much prio in that sense.
He also took Airy, which is going to make this a lot easier to, chip away at during this early part of the laning phase. Zoned Fate out of some CS there. Ouch, that's going to hurt. Not the effect he wanted, but not the end of the world either. Fate 4-2 on this champion. Like I've been saying, a mid laner who doesn't always get the same credit as our big three here in the LCK, but already, destroyed Faker once this series on his Galio. Here comes that early level 3 gank. He gets the leash, he gets 3, he's going for it.
There it is, the flash on in with the root, and Faker is just gone. He doesn't even flash, he knows he's dead. The early gank comes in, it is not accounted for, and that's that gank assist. It comes through, and that is a very early nice kill for Liv Sandbox.
Yep. You get Kroko through his jungle quick. He comes right back in to give you back. Oh, not again.
Yeah, Fate doesn't have flash, so it's going to be much harder to get on top of the flash Lucian.
He's going to grab the scuttle. Those will be traded. The Summit actually ends up getting a really nice trade up here onto Kana. And this early game, in the smallest of margins, looks amazing for Liv Sandbox. Everything's gone well so far. Everything's according to plan. This lane's pushed in. Gumushi having a little bit of a tougher time. We'll catch the last parts of that CS. As Owner, going to get a ward here, but not going to be able to find anything else at the moment.
Waiting in the brush here. Keria's going to spot them both, but the engage still happens, and a dive in the mid lane comes through as they get the Rise. So we'll have to see how that one comes through as well. Faker didn't even flash. It was all Owner who flashes in, and I guess Fate being low led to the kill.
This is Owner's thing, right? That's what I'm talking about. A lot of this game is going to hinge on him getting super fed early, and not every Dyna can, but he does. That was a great flash from Gumushi. Extremely quick reaction time on that one.
Yeah, but he didn't have to move forward to greedily get the CS either. Yeah. So, really nice reaction time, but I'm not so sure about the decision.
Well, I mean, the end result is he loses his flash, which is net negative. I don't know if we need to be pulling away right here, but we will. So we're going to go all the way back to Kroko's gank timing here as the flash you mentioned gives him the root. And then he body blocks him, gets the knock up, gets the kill. First blood goes over to him. And then the same happens here to Fate. You mentioned he's low health. He does not have the flash. And Owner comes back to pay him a visit. They give the kill over to Faker. And that's that. As I don't think anything happened up here. The observers are like, no, don't worry, Wolf. Everything's fine.
Yeah, just an aggressive trade from Summit, and kinda, as the Viego, you kinda just have to stand up to the Renekton sometimes. Don't let the Crocs bully you when they want to.
It's a very high sustain lane, so there's no reason to really be nervous. Is Effort just doing Effort things? He's like, gotta keep my lane proximity low. my dual proximity, I suppose I should say, to use the correct term.
Yeah. Stay away from the Varus.
Stay away from Varus. Let him get all the experience. I'm just going to come up here in case Faker makes a mistake.
Yeah.
Does still have flash advantages. Faker.
Yeah, he's looking to potentially take this trade as Krako comes in. Just looking to help push. Gets a little bit of damage on the backside there. Does the rise onto Faker. As you can see, Faker has played 9 games of Lucian.
Yeah, very
he has
low.
lost 1.
Very low amount of games compared to what you'd expect, but like you said, the win rate is extremely high. Okay, well, we're going to see a blast plant taken here. They want to commit.
This is a great idea. I love this proactivity with this comp. They're getting in there. They're going to deny any hopes of getting out of this one. The teleport is coming through, though, and this Viego's really scary, actually, but with the Croc also down here, I'm not sure what more he can do. He's actually going to try to flash the wall, and he may actually get away.
Dodges
Flash from Prince, and now he's alive. Carrier's getting in here, and Fate was left all alone as Summit tries to trade it back, but that's a disaster. He's not going to get the kill. Kana survives somehow.
Faker is pushing effort down, too.
Yeah,
This is a disaster for Sandbox.
Effort's done, and you can see that Owner does eventually go down underneath the turret at the same time, and now Faker low on mana. The Dominus still up here for just a moment.
No flash here for Summit.
Faker autos the Dragon.
That's a mistake. I think that was probably a misclick, unfortunately. It ends up catching him there. I think he gets out, right? He did not have his flash, but neither did Summit. That was kind of a weird moment there. But that's a huge win, because otherwise this ends up being a trade for that favors T1. It's going to be a crazy replay. We have to go back in and digest because a lot of summoner spells were burned, right? Kana and Summit both use theirs. Basically every flash is down in the whole game right now. No, not basically. Actually, literally all 10 flashes are down at the moment. Yeah. So it was a crazy heavy engage, and Viego is extremely stellar, actually, at these moments when things get scrappy. But he's not able to live long enough, even under turret there. Okay, we're going to finally go back through this and watch this again.
This was a doozy.
It's
of
definitely a really nice timing to come through here, and the Realm Warp is available, so you have super powerful follow-up, but when the teleport comes through here from Kana, that's when things get kind of nasty, right? You did enough damage back, he gets up getting the first reset, does a ton of damage on his way out here, and unfortunately there's a bit of a disconnect between Liv Sandbox here. Half of them want to chase Keria, and half of them want to chase down Kana. And that ends up being a kill. Then Summit can't kill Keria, and it's right here at this moment, everything feels like it's really just gone to hell for Liv Sandbox, but they're still able to force this back, get the kill on Owner, and meanwhile, live!
Oh boy, Faker's just dead. This is right over the wall. We missed how it started, but you can imagine, Control Ward in the enemy jungle, right over the top, Hex Splash perhaps, or maybe even just the real one. You mentioned they were all down. Yeah. Effort's able to make the play, and the follow-up there from his teammates.
You can see his Hex Flash just comes right back up. That's how he set this up, and I
think maybe even Fate got the root to start, and this game is we're all over the place.
Light speed!
Now we got the Rift Herald, okay. Liv Sandbox got that. All right.
Okay, now they're going to get one plate here in the mid lane, I believe, as well. Yeah, just one plate. I don't know if anyone got that local gold. Okay, this is what we wanted to come back and see here.
Okay.
This is before this. This is Faker actually autoing the Drake, which is the last part of the replay we didn't see. So he barely doesn't kill Effort here. Oh, no, he does kill him, actually. I didn't realize Effort died there. And then autoing the Drake is I wanted to see Faker's first-person view on this, actually, because Summit has his stun, but I don't know if he had his dash there. Other way he dies. Now this is the Hex Flash over the wall after the root.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, live, we don't have time for replays in this game.
Cut the replay. Well, here we are as they flash on in, and that is Summit thinking he can survive with Krako nearby, but absolutely he cannot. The burst comes in, and down he will go just like that.
Yeah, we wish we got to see Faker's first person on the, or honestly Summit's on that exchange there on the Drake, but either way, he clicks on the Drake, he gets caught, he dies. That's the end result, as once again Hex Flash over the wall here, going to help him clear out another ward. No Drake for either team with how back and forth crazy this game has been. 10 kills, so a kill a minute here. It's been an extremely high pace. And when you look at the gold and where it is, a lot of the gold for Liv Sandbox, unfortunately not as much on Fate as it was in Game 1. A lot of it actually on this Varus, which is still good, but it's not going to be something that really accelerates this Rise's win condition as much. Whereas Faker, despite that death and two others, is still getting his items online too. So it's a very close game. And the really scary part of this is I think Viego is going to continue to be relevant through these next few Drake fights. He's 1-0 and 3. Just going to have his Sunder up here in just a second.
Somehow he really does feel like the scariest one, but let's look at this.
바로 죽었다. 와.
He's like, I'm waiting. Oh, he got me right away.
Yeah, I just got blown up,
Yep.
you know. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, not expecting the follow-up there from the Diana, I suppose. And
If Croco was there like a second earlier, things could look a little bit different.
I think they were trying to set something up.
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
just like the, one mini step ahead was the T1 top and jungle. And that's what pays off at the highest level. And Kana's, he's getting, I'm glad you mentioned him because he's really getting a bit scary in this one. 1-0 and 3 is going to have his first item online here in just a moment. And
It's going to be terrifying what he's going to be able to do in some of these upcoming fights when, Owner 0-1 and 3, not extremely fed by any means, but is starting to really come online. And then when you have a Viego that also pairs with this, does a ton of damage, is pretty sustainable, then it becomes a lot more difficult to position correctly as Prince, right? When you have these melee champions that can come in and absolutely destroy you if you get caught or if you do get a little bit out of position. Then you have to back off. Or if you, are too safe, then you are unfortunately unable to do consistent damage, and that's where the problem lies. Just going to absorb some of this damage. Faker's totally fine.
yeah, and generally we see those cullings come out when it's like you're the one pressuring the lane, you're the one that's ahead, you have your prio up. But this Rise is just done too much. And take a look at this, the quick Realm Orb to the bottom side. We got the Rotatos here in this game, not wasting any time to rotate to the bottom side and take this down with the Rift Herald. And there, of course, will be no response from T1 down here. They may try to push the mid lane and get some plates, but this is still a nice macro play from this.
I mean, they have 4 people here. They can get a second charge on this Rift Herald, easy peasy, and there's nothing that Gumayusi can do about this. And Faker's not going to come help. He just wants to farm here. And they actually don't commit to this because they don't have vision. Notice that in the blue side jungle just above them, they have no vision whatsoever. So that's why they decide to back off here. But knowing what we know, they could have definitely pushed the issue a little bit further there. And Gumayusi playing around it pretty well and walking forward there, kind of selling the idea that someone could be near. Either way, ends up being a lot of extra gold going over here to Live Sandbox and to this very fed Varus that's going to start to become more and more relevant in these upcoming fights with his poke. And Kaisa, unfortunately, just not so much, right? Like, she's not really going to be able to do a whole lot. She hasn't been given the gold that's required to actually come online just yet in this game. And yeah, she could do consistent damage, but she's not going to be able to really ult in and blow somebody up, barring a big mistake from Live Sandbox.
Yeah. We're definitely going to have to see more of her power, like, in a bit of the way of the Viego, where it's like the fight really breaks down, and then you wait for the perfect moment, and you kind of just both jump in together. Yeah, it's definitely a bit more of a cleanup because there's not that much hard engage outside of the Diana and the Leona. So definitely, it's going to be a difficult game for Gumayusi to play, especially from behind against this pretty stacked Varus in this game. Prince getting his revenge after game number 2. Didn't exactly get to show his stuff in that last one.
Yeah, it's looked really good for him here in the second game, and we know how much he loves to play the Varus. Faker going to get out of here. No problem. Croco just trying to clear vision. They do have Fate nearby, and his Realm Orb is about to come back up. If Faker stays too long here, there was almost a really big opportunity here. Is just skating the line right now, but either way, you can push down this turret now. 10 seconds until the second Rift Herald hits, and with these turrets exposed, this could be massive for Live Sandbox if they can pick it up. There's a lot of gold to be had, so T1 will absolutely fight for this. They have the priority on this. You can push this mid wave. Let's see how Live Sandbox respond, because they're greedily looking for the top laner now. Ooh.
Yeah. One of the things about having a really fed Varus is that you're extremely squishy. So if you're out of position and you just get killed, that might just be the end of it, and you give over a big shutdown to the enemy team. So Prince has to be extremely careful. I like that he just flashes away right away.
You've got a target on your back, so you have to be aware. And now he doesn't have flash for this fight. And T1 in prime position to take this Herald.
Saw Kana's positioning. He's getting ready to just get in there. But T1 decide, no, we'll just take the Rift Herald and back away. Dominus popped here. As the Cullen gets actually a really nice amount of damage. Stun comes through, but now Carry is isolated in the front, and now they're just going to turn it, and look at the massive move ball that comes in from Owner. He sets up the kill. Thankfully, they've got an Alistair and a Xin Zhao to try to just push them away.
What did I say?
There could have been more casualties on the backside of that.
Well, I say this game is going to be all about him, right? And in these moments, you make the decisive play because Liv Sandbox are looking to turn this fight, right? And it's sunk cost fallacy for Liv Sandbox in a lot of ways because, okay, they're grouping up, but they don't have enough to actually stop the Rift Herald from going down. Rift Herald goes down, and Fate teleports in extremely late. When you have a teleport coming in like that, it's really hard to walk away and say, you know what? I guess we're going to just waste the teleport and not do it. So you can see that teleport on the control board right there. And then Keria gets caught, right? And this is the moment where you're like, okay, we have a really nice fight set up here. The Chains of Corruption are good. But guess what? Owner says, no, I've actually got the ability to charge through, blow up Summit, and then use a Moonfall. It ends up being an excellent fight here for T1. And it's unfortunate for Liv Sandbox. They really didn't need to force the issue after losing the Rift Herald. You just cut your losses and walk away, even if you lose a turret. And even though it looked good with a catch on to Keria, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. When you have this much engaged, you know, when you can turn on a dime. So they're just going to drop this Rift Herald down right now.
Yeah, and take a look at what Liv Sandbox are doing here. They're not necessarily grouping up to stop this push, but I think they got to get back for the inner turret, you would imagine. Prince kind of left out here to dry. The bottom side turret does go down, but obviously with Shirley here, they're going to be able to take 2 turrets. So nice little win there for T1 and the top lane.
Yeah, Faker gets away with this one for free too because they knew everyone was grouped up on the bottom side of the map for Liv Sandbox. I think this is a bit of a macro error. It's hard to make the call though because even if you do rotate to defend, you're going to lose your main turret for sure no matter what. And so like, how do you make the call to try to defend that there when you won't get the bottom extra turret gold there and you can't probably kill anybody? It's a tough call, but T1 definitely getting a lot more out of this, and they've actually taken a gold lead for the first time in a while here. And look at these items coming online. Faker going for the Eclipse in this game because he wants to be able to help blow up Prince, right? Like, that's the name of the game. You kill Prince, you kill the carry. If you can kill Fate also, either of these players, the damage output goes down so low for Liv Sandbox, and you have that big wombo potential. If you end up setting it up, it's really easy to blow up these single targets and then 5v4, 5v3 right afterwards. A lot of Lucians would go for the Gale Force in this case, but not Faker, not in this opportunity where he has that extra damage output, that extra lethality to get those instant kills.
And Liv Sandbox just decide, I mean, we're just going to push turrets as a team. And if anyone ever shows their face, we're just going to jump on them. But the thing is that T1 is responding to this very well. They say, okay, you can get 1 turret, but we're going to take 2 potentially every single time.
Yeah.
There's not much of a response here because Liv Sandbox, you know, of course, with the delay on the recalls. You see the damage does come through. Summit is here now on the front line. As the stun comes in and he is locked down and the dominance will not save you now. As the damage is coming out from Fate, the front to back here is big as the Xin Zhao and the Alistair lead the charge now. They're only able to get 1 though as the flash comes through.
No flashes down, or all flashes down here for T1 now. They've got to get out of here ASAP. If anybody gets caught, they are not getting away, so they have to leave immediately. Ends up being a trade here, but the turret taking a ton of damage. I actually didn't see if it went down at the end of the day. I don't believe so, actually. They blow up Summit here, but look at all the damage traded back here. Kana goes extremely low. Keria dies, and the fight is over at this moment in time. Like, you cannot get out. Faker just barely is able to escape.
He wasn't even there, like, following up damage. I don't even think he put a single arrow into, I think it was Leona. Somebody got caught there on the front.
It was Keria, yeah.
And,
well, actually, Kana first caught, and then Keria was blown up right after that.
And so, you know, imagine what they can do. I mean, that's basically just the rise damage, and he's only got an item and a half at this point.
And that was, I think, the idea for Liv Sandbox and some of these turret trades is like, okay, if we could just slow down the pace of this game, as long as, you know, we're not seeing tons of extra gold going over to Owner here, and a lot of the minions are being given to Fate, because already Prince is fairly fed, then we have a good opportunity to front-to-back team fight later on, especially in reactionary fights like the one we just saw there. You have a lot of power. So that's exactly what we're seeing here from Fate. He's just being given all of this side lane gold. He has teleport too.
We're going to find the Kaisa, and he is just able to get away, actually. The flash comes through, and Prince tries to get in there, but now he's in the front line, and immediately he gets blown to smithereens as Fate is going to go for the stopwatch here. You see Faker goes down, but Fate is a huge amount of the damage, and the Viego is still huge on the front line of this fight. Look at Kana. The knockup comes in, but Xin Zhao just doesn't have enough damage, I don't think. He's trying to get in there. But at the end of the day, it's Viego who's able to do much more, as the 3-on-2 will, of course, go in favor of T1, as now they'll get the Baron.
When the fight gets scrappy, like you said, it's the playground of Kana and Gumusi a lot of the time in these cases. And unfortunately for Liv Sandbox, even though it looked like a beautiful start to this team fight, Fate teleporting in means he has no mobility, has no options, has to stopwatch immediately. So in that longer exchange, once the burst is done, is effort. I don't know if you're going to get anything out of this. They're going to get a teleport.
The Alistair Steele? The Alistair Steele? He got it! He got it! Oh man! How did he do that?
Unbelievable!
How do you even let that happen?
Oh my god. I cannot believe that happened. They forced a teleport out of Faker with this. I was like, okay, well, I mean, he's on the edge, but actually stealing the Baron away is just inexcusable. Now they're just going to rush over here and take the third Drake of the game. So Baron buff now for this comp that can push super hard, has great siege. And you're going to get so much done with this. This could be a huge Baron power play to put yourself back in this game. As we're going to go all the way back to this, right? So this is where it looks like, okay, we've had the really nice engage. Gumusi is not dead, but he's out of the fight. So you feel like you're very comfortable to teleport Fate in now and look for the fight. And then once again, you clump up, and Owner makes the play. And in this crazy skirmish, even with Faker going down, Gumusi is able to do a ton of damage. And Viego in these scenarios loves the chaos. He's going to get so much healing out of this. He's just got so much sustain. He's very fed in this game.
Yeah.
And Kana's like, thank you very much, Owner, for giving me the opportunity to carry this. This is one of those games where like Kana gets if Kana gets a POG, we're gonna watch.
오케이 한번 믿어줘.
Okay, watch this. He's a trust me.
야 나이스 나이스 야야 빼빼빼빼빼 어야
He said he
Oh,
really
nice,
said, guys,
얘들아,
just
이거-
trust me. And he goes in and gets it. I will never not trust effort again. Not that I ever didn't trust him,
Yeah.
but if there was ever a doubt, there will never be anymore.
Crazy. All comes back to the support key matchup. The two supports. I can't believe Effort stole that.
But he says it with such a straight face too. It's
Yeah.
not like one of those meme things where you're like, no,
I
guys,
got
like,
this,
well,
boys.
like,
Yeah.
don't worry. It's not like running it down like, oh, this game's over. Might as well go for it. And he's like, no, just trust me. I got this. And then calmly flashes in, gets it, and says, all right, we got it. I got it, guys.
I mean, how do you even... Like, how does he even... like, what is the damage on that one? You know, we saw his first-person view. We got to hear what he had to say, but I'm also curious about what the damage was. It was like around 34, maybe?
I mean, this is one of those replays you could watch 10 times.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably already a clip on Reddit right now.
We'll definitely be seeing it later on the broadcast, at least. So
it's going to be on the highlights later, so... All right, well,
regardless
T1,
of who wins.
T1 is in a position now where, yeah, this Baron power play, they don't actually get as much out of it as I thought. They don't group up quickly, and not everyone, you know, obviously got this buff. But on top of it, you know, T1 had a lot of control of the map previously, and they're just going to continue to exert that pressure because they had the man advantage, and the Alistair was dead. But they are, you know, unfortunately unable to find any objectives because there's no Drake up right now. Liv Sandbox are just able to sit back and farm. So even though the Baron power play isn't amazing, they don't get any picks, there's no kills, it's not like a really big objective swing, they get farm for this Rise. They're getting all the money they need to look for a team fight later on. And this game is still on a knife's edge, still anyone's game to win. I think the biggest thing for Liv Sandbox to avoid is Owner's Moonfalls. If they can actually avoid clumping for those or getting caught by him, getting flanked by him, then their team fight potential is so high now at this stage of the game, even with Renekton somewhat falling off. It's a 0-4-6 summit this game, but he's got enough frontlining to put off for Fate here and for Prince to really do that damage that I believe this composition can do it unless they get womboed, right? And that's been a consistent thing that Owner's been able to pull off here.
Yeah. And you can see the power, I mean, of the Diana pick. This is why we were saying, you know, are you sure you want to give it up? They forewent banning it, right? They took away the Ziggs and the Jace, which was very interesting. They didn't want to give that back to Kana. They said, sure, go ahead, take the Viego. And then they gave over the Diana as well. So we've been seeing what this Diana is able to do. Liv Sandbox need to find some kind of answer in this game.
By the way, Can I just say, Prince's accuracy on these arrows has been phenomenal all game long.
He really is.
He is unfortunately unable to turn that into, you know, kills or kill pressure with this draft so far, but he has been so great in the neutral game.
I think he was really angry after game 2.
Yeah.
I mean, he got stomped down on the bottom side. He and effort. It's the way it goes sometimes. Even the best of us get stomped.
Always.
It's about how you react to that.
Always got to have this camera pan for the observers, by the way, with owner being visible, because you always got to know where he is, you know, if you're watching this game, because he is going to be the one who sets it all up. I mean, sure, Keria can start it off with a solar flare, and we have seen some great solar flares from Keria this game. And when you get that set up and then you have the Moonfall follow-up, or even if your solar flare isn't amazing and Live Sandbox turn, that's the moment where owner's like, oh, you thought our engage was done. Like, even if he hits that Q there, and Live Sandbox are a little bit more grouped up, even small moments like that can be all you need to win the team fight instantly, because Faker's got massive damage follow-up. Prince and Fate need to be so well protected here.
All right.
12 seconds to go on this one.
We got flanks on flanks right now. As Effort's looking to come around the left bend, we saw Diana, Owner, and Kana looking to come around the top right bend. The Sandbox don't really have the vision, but Summit just saw that, and now he's going to spot Kana.
He has no plant to blast with here. I mean, that's pretty
True.
massive.
Oh, they're trying to engage while Kana's out of this. Well, at least one of them is. Croc goes in there.
Okay, this is really disjointed for Live Sandbox.
Yeah, now the culling comes out. You see Live Sandbox a little bit stretched apart at this point in time, as here comes Owner. He's only able to get the Renekton, though, and immediately he dies. That's not the engage you're looking for.
Finally, they deal with him. Finally, the Diana is not the win condition anymore in this fight, and you can't fight this anymore, T1. It's not a scrappy fight. It's not a fight where Kana could just absolutely carry. That's going to be the Drake going over. That's Ocean Soul to Live Sandbox. A massive advantage for them now, and they handled it so well. Fate was ready to catch the incoming Diana. They blow her up, and that's all it takes. Now you're going to get a Baron for real this time.
Take a look at Kana in the mid lane. He's being pretty sneaky with how fast he's pushing this, because the obvious play for the Sandbox is you go straight for the Baron. But now he's just going to push it and go in. As you can see, there's still 4 members of T1. They try to make a play here, but the Alistair is just zoning them all away.
I mean, with the Ocean Soul, you get all your health back from that last fight. I think, they're looking for it.
Nope, just the red buff.
Oh, okay, I thought they actually went over the Frogs. I was like, you're crazy.
That was scary.
As T1, you're in a position where this Baron is not game losing for you, and it is Cloud Soul.
Watch how fast Owner dies.
Yeah, like, it's just that simple. This is actually very fortunate for Live Sandbox, because the fight is extremely disjointed. Kana's positioning is fantastic. He can threaten both Prince and Fate. If this engage goes extremely well and Owner does not die, then it's perfect. But he's instantly stunned. Follow-up is massive. Everybody hits him at once.
Oh, man.
And if that goes better, then Kana gets in on top of these carries, and it looks totally different. But they handled it so well. They've been burned by him like 3 times this game, but not the 4th.
I mean, we talked about how the responsibility of the Diana and the Leona to make the engage happen, it is so high. The solar flare misses, and then that engage comes from Owner. You can't do anything after that. You've lost everything. The culling is down. You know, you're not just going to run in at them, or you're just going to lose the fight. So, unfortunately, that one just comes down to execution. And as you said, Live Sandbox, they were so patient. They played it perfectly. Fate just leaves.
He's like, I don't want to delay this.
People leave. Yep.
But I mean, they're just going to sit here and siege up this turret. They've got great wave clear, but they don't want to overextend, because the engage potential is still so good for T1. You know, the same reasons why it's been very difficult for them to actually 5v5 properly still holds true. Get an inhibitor, walk away, rinse and repeat here. And as T1, this game is still winnable, but you're running out of options here. If anybody dies, you can lose the game right away, so you really have to play this slow, and you're probably going to lose inhibitors. There's just not much you can do about it. Just going to try to hope that your inhibitor in this turret wears out the Baron buff, so you can hope for another objective play on the Elder. Okay, they're going for it.
Here we go. You got to go for the engage if you're T1, but the sit down. There's another huge moonfall, and the damage comes out. But down will go Leona, but they get the Varus, but you can see there's no real follow-up. Gumayusi's on the backside, and he's all alone, and down he will go. Faker not able to enter the fight zoned away by the Xinjiao. And that is going to do it. Live Sandbox will push in for yet another huge 2-1 victory.
T1 not going to wait the 45 seconds Baron out, not going to look for the fight on the turrets. They wanted the perfect engage. They were set up for it. It was a great moonfall, but it's not enough at the end of the day. And Live Sandbox will do it twice this week. Back-to-back 2-1s over Gen G and T1, putting themselves massively ahead of Africa in that race to playoffs and solidifying their position as a potential underdog, a story we are going to have to watch very closely heading into these best-of-5s and playoffs, and the bounce back was real. Not only was Game 2